Hello and welcome to this taste challenge. I have two Heaven Hill bourbon whiskeys. They're both from Heaven Hill, and one is moderately priced and one is really cheap. So, so this is Royal Kentucky bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. Oh, yay. Bottled by Kentucky Distilling Company, Bardstown, Kentucky. Yeah, uh-huh. Royal blue. It's got a crown. Now, my friend David said it's trying to be Crown Royal. I said, that's fooling nobody. Um, I have never seen this until I had never seen it until I went to Ralston Liquors in Houston, Texas on Lyons Boulevard. And I found this and I was like, what the what? And I was trying to find a trademark. I was trying to find trademark information. Like, when was this trademark? When was it introduced? But then I looked carefully and then I noticed there is no trademark. In other words, they claim it's the finest quality. Heaven Hill says it's the finest quality, but they didn't even want to pay the $3.75. Might cost more than that to get it trademarked. So it's just out there. They figure nobody in their right mind is going to try to copy this. All right, so there it is. Been on the market since who knows when. Sold to who knows who. I bought it. I paid $7.99. There's a little bit left, It's going to go up against Evan Williams 1783 small batch, the American Hero edition from two warehouses at the Bernheim Distillery in Kentucky. They own Bernheim Distillery, and well, they own a number of them. Okay, I don't know all of them. I haven't memorized it. Bernheim warehouses 1E and 1J. So it's not a barrel pick, it's a warehouse pick, 1E and 1J. So it's whiskeys coming from those two warehouses. Is that going to make a big difference? I doubt it, but it's the American Heroes edition. You can look up on their website. They talk about it. Started this years ago. In 2023, they did it with the 1783 small batch. They show these military veterans, some current, some retired. And it's 90 proof, and I was able to get this bottle for $9 plus tax and a 10-cent tip. True story, 10-cent tip. So I paid $10 total for this bottle. Full-size bottle, full size, $10. Insane? Yes. Favorable? Yes. Am I happy? Am I happy about it? Yes. All right. Is it going to win? Well, you would hope. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey has no flavoring or coloring added. Burley Sullivan says, you to you, Burley. So you would hope a straight bourbon would beat a crooked bourbon, one that's adulterated, to say the least. Oh, it made a hiss. All right. Got the right labels. Got to make sure. Yeah, I should be able to get two more challenges out of this one. That'll work. I like to say on racetrack commercials, that tracks. Okay. Now on the Heaven Hill website, they even talk about in their product specifications, what do they say? 750 milliliter bottle with elastic band. With elastic band. That's how specific they are on their specifications. And yes, it does have the elastic band. All right. Another reason, 80 proof versus 90, you would think it would make a difference, right? I mean, it should. This is Heaven Hill's lowest of the low grade. So do they sell a cheaper bourbon than this? Well, if they do, it's probably $1. No, I mean, it's $7.99, and that was at the time of purchase. I bought that in May of 20. Was it May or April? Could have been 2 years ago exactly, 2022, because I was in Houston and I went to a college baseball game, which was very enjoyable. Texas Southern University. All right, so and then the Evan Williams, yeah. Now I was trying to find out when they introduced Evan Williams 1783 small batch, but I could not because they don't talk about it on their website. Aside from saying that it's really good, you should buy it, and it's not trademarked, so I can't look up trademark data. They didn't trademark the number 1783, which they probably wouldn't be able to get the trademark. Just like Angel Reese was not able to get the trademark for Bayou Barbie. The trademark office told her no. And small batch, they didn't trademark. So they got Evan Williams. That's a trademark. You can't use that on your bottle of liquor. But 1783 small batch, no, not trademarked. My impression is that it has been on the market for some time. I do know certain facts. I know that it's 90 proof. I know that it was reformulated in 2021 to bring it up to a higher proof, 90. I know that it's a blend of whiskeys aged 6 to 8 years, a blend of sour mash bourbon whiskeys aged 6 to 8 years. I know I can buy a huge bottle of it for $22.99. Last time I checked, don't need it. Good deal though. Let me see something real fast. 13. Burley Sullivan says, Ron, if you have a favorite, which solo Beatles album do you like the best? You mean which solo album from former Beatles members do I like? Well, I've never heard them all, so I can't judge them based on hearing all of them. But I guess Band on the Run, or maybe All Things Must Pass. Band on the Run, 1973. All Things Must Pass, 1970. I have Plastic Ono Band. I think it's the first printing LP, Plastic Ono Band. But it's not quite up to All Things Must Pass and Pass, not Past, Pass, 2 S's, and Band on the Run. But it's good. It's a lot better than the disastrous Double Fantasy, which they should have called a Double Nightmare. All right, but you know, cheers to you, Tommy. All right. Oh yeah, screen share. So if I show you what they have for Royal Touch, it's a product specifications list. Royal Spirit distilled spirit specialty. Well, what that means, flavoring and coloring, probably they call it a distilled spirit specialty, which means it follows any guideline. In other words, the guidelines, so you can put in the bottle whatever you want to put in it. But technically, it's a distilled spirit specialty. But for marketing reasons, a bourbon with natural flavors, which is what it is. It's a bourbon, I'm sure a very cheap one, which is why it was $7.99 with natural flavors. So it could never be a straight bourbon, because that's just not right. Let's see. They got they're all 80 proof, right? Yeah. They got 750s, 375, 200, 80, 1 liter, and 175. Okay, so you get a whole different. You got a whole lineup of different sizes. Okay, so I have never seen it in Louisiana, but I saw it in Heaven Hills blended whatever. Saw a handle of that earlier this year in Gretna, Louisiana, and I said, "Ain't no way I'm buying it." But I have a bottle. I will now. Yeah, once was enough. You see there, not much, right? A list. So here's Evan Williams 17. That's the standard bottle. They don't have the red, white, and blue bottle that I have, but mine's a midsummer Independence Day offering. It's a sharp looking bottle. I gotta admit. Extra age. Yep. As per their website. That's not some third party information. I got it off their website. All right. It's sour mash. I got it off their website. I don't go with that secondary sourcing. I'll say things like, well, I read it was this, but that's not official. Or I'll say somebody says, but it's not, but if it's official, it's official. All right. Okay. Time to taste. Louisiana. Oh, where would I rate Rubber Soul in the Beatles catalog? Um, Rubber Soul. Tommy, I wasn't even born when it came out. I need to relax my mind. I need to turn off my mind, really relax and float downstream before I do that. But no, as a comic, in all seriousness, I mean, I'll surrender to the void and say, I would say that it's one of the top. Is it the best? Well, I don't know why I'm making references to a revolver. Oh, help me. I better run for my life if I can. That's a very bad song. Like George Harrison said, and he said Rubber Soul and Revolver is like the same album. It's just like two parts of the same album in his mind. He says like the same album. It's just like part one, part two, and I agree with that. Mm, I don't know. It's way up there, but they're all way up there. So it's like, yeah, how do you differentiate it? Do you prefer Band on the Run or All Things Must Pass? Yeah, I prefer both. I don't know. They're so good. I don't know. I can't answer that question. Hello there, Ron, says Butch Willie. Hello to you, Butch. All right. The only way I can pick the best Beatles album is I got to get in contact with the Tavistock Institute and figure, well, no, I'll give you everything I've got for a little piece of mine. All right. Anyway, I can't say, well, let's go. I can't say I can't answer the question. I'm sorry, but I do dig a pony. And you can imitate anything you want. Um, this smells like bourbon, shockingly. Shockingly, since I'm drinking. Tim's Brew says cheers. Cheers to you, Tim. We got South Carolina. We got all the states. I'm going to make the meat. I'm going to make all the meat. A hat? All right. So that smells like something I can't differentiate because it's so standard. You say, well, it's Evan Williams. That exemplifies standard. I know. I get it. Hmm. Smells nice. They smell about the same. So just goes to show you, you can buy one for, well, I mean, this price comparison makes no sense. So the normal price for this is about $23. No, $23. No, that's not right. About $19. Okay, so the right price is about $19. So you can get this for about $19. You're not going to get it for 9 like I did, but you can get it for 19. And the normal price for this is, I guess, $7.99 because that's what I paid, and it wasn't on sale. Did they give me a funny look when I bought it? No, they gave me a happy look. I was buying liquor in their store. I bought 2 rums and that. They were happy. I'm drinking Jim Beam. Oh, that's coming up. I have Jim Beam coming into play against 1783. Can't say how it's going to turn out. I would assume, and honestly, I would hope that the 1783 would win. But then, man, these things can be really treacherous. You think, oh yeah, well, it's pretty obvious what's going to win. Then you do the taste challenge blind, and you're like, oh, let me try to bring up other topics. Let's talk about Beatles albums. Because you're trying to stall. All right. Taste. Cheers. But you know my name. Just look up the number. I don't think with the nuttiness and the barrel, the oak and the vanilla and the strength here, I don't think this could possibly be an 80 proof. I don't believe it. It's got to be the 1783. Now, are they still using the same mash bill for the Royal? Well, they probably are. 78% corn, 12% rye, 10% barley malt. But it's probably reject barrels. You know what I mean? Like they went and they surveyed the barrels and they're like, oh man, what happened to this barrel? They're like, we can't put this in a bottle of Evan Williams. And they say, send it down to Royal. They don't dump them out. Now, Sazerac, I assume they don't. Now, I was talking to Sazerac, Buffalo Trace, and the lady told me, now this is her. She told me, sometimes we do actually dump it out. She said, we don't just put it all in the cheap blended bourbons, blended whiskeys, and everything. She said, sometimes it just is so unacceptable, they dump it out. That's what she told me. That's an official statement. Now, it might only happen once a decade, but she said sometimes it gets to that extreme. But I'm sure it's rare. They have quality control and try to alleviate or eliminate variables which would lead to that. But it's not possible to eliminate all variables. I've been to their rick houses and they're not air conditioned. They're just outside. They have, louvers, so rain can't get in. It's louvered, Venetian blinds, what you would call that. But otherwise, when it's cold in there. When it's humid, it's humid. When it's dry, it's dry. When it's medium, it's medium. And when it's hot, it's hot. So their barrels just go through different temperature variations, humidity variations, and everything like that. So it's not a complete controlled environment. It is not. And maybe that adds character to the whiskey. I think Kentucky is probably more moderate than most states because they're in the middle part of the United States. They're not, they're in the center. They're not on the coast. Great Lakes, Gulf Coast, East Coast, West Coast. So they're in the center. So they wouldn't get extremes of cold, although it gets pretty damn cold. Extremes of cold or extremes of heat. Louisiana bourbon production could probably be more problematic. Minnesota bourbon production more problematic. Maine, California. So do they produce bourbon in those states? Probably. It's probably very minimal. I know there is White Rock Distilling in Maine, Lewiston, Maine. It's owned by Sazerac, Buffalo Trace. Sazerac owns it. Do they distill liquor there, or do they just blend various liquors and bottle them? My impression is they mainly just blend and bottle, but they might be distilling these days. Seems like you would have heard about it, but that was an old Seagram's distillery or whatever it was, and of course Seagram's went out of business, so Sazerac owns it. I know there's one in Baltimore, Maryland, Monumental Distilling, Majestic or / Majestic Distilling, and might just be a bottling plant or blending, but they might distill also. There's different. The general consensus is that they don't distill there anymore, but then Sazerac, they might turn around and you find out they're distilling there. Louisiana Liquor Review says, I'm enjoying a Hacker Peshore Fest beer. Oh. Hacker Peshore, they do great work. Great work. It's got a wood burn. It's got a medium body. It's got the concomitant, the typical bourbon flavors, the vanilla, the oak, the nectar, honeysuckle nectar, the corn. Yeah. Let's go over here. Like I said, remember when I started the video, it should be a glaring difference, but you don't know until you do the blind taste test. And when you're dealing with stuff that's all the same mash bill, what do? You really struggle. That's what you do. But I think ultimately the flavors are not really that different. Now, I hate to say that because you would want to say, you're on the internet live and people are watching. So you want to say, oh, yes, this is clearly much better. Clearly much better. And that's what I want to say. However, I am tasting them and they do have quite similar flavors. Now, I know they're adding flavoring to this, but it could be something like vanilla. And vanilla is a common flavor descriptor that people use for bourbon. So it would just enhance whatever dullness that thing had. Is it a smooth body? Yeah. Now, does it have some back note of ethanol, like just straight corn distillate? It kind of has that, but I know it is not that. It's not corn distillate unaged, because that would be grain neutral spirits, and they would have to give if you add grain neutral spirits to bourbon, fine, you can do that. It's not a problem, but you got to list it on the bottle. And they don't have it listed at all, so they're not doing that. It's pure bourbon. It is pure bourbon, but qualifying statement. It's pure bourbon, comma, with natural flavors. Okay, there's the yeah. Okay, so I do like that they're using. Now they're clever. Heaven Hill's a clever company. They're using royal blue for the royal name. So they use the exact shade blue. they could have been really sloppy, but they did take time to use royal blue, and then they got the crown, finest quality. And so they say finest quality. I hate to see the worst quality if this is the finest, but isn't that terrible? I mean, I'm not going to sit here talking about, oh, it's terrible. It's got so many off flavors, so many off aromas. It tastes like shellac. It tastes like wood glue. It tastes like paint primer. It tastes like, you know, clear coat. But it doesn't taste like any of those things. Actually, it just tastes like kind of like regular old bourbon, to tell you the truth. So you say, well, I like that. I like regular old bourbon, and I don't like to pay a lot. Okay. So if you like regular old bourbon and you're not real picky, you don't like to pay a lot, you might want to buy this and you might come out ahead because um, no, I don't see it in Louisiana. I do see its kissing cousin, but it's 70 proof. I'm not messing around with no 70 proof stuff. But this is 80 proof. It's an actual whiskey in a sense. but it but it I know in Texas you can get the big glass, might be plastic, but big glass or big bottles might be plastic ultimately, but the this one and the liter is glass for sure. Um, but yeah, if you're not too picky and you say, I don't care, man. I'm just mixing it with Coke or Pepsi. I'm not into all of that frou-frou, whiskey. Oh, it tastes like the scintilla of the exceptional general principles of the extrapolated dynamic common denominator. If you say I'm not into all of that, I just want it to taste all right. Oh yeah, this will work fine. But if you have any kind of erudite appreciation of bourbon, yeah, you don't want to buy it. All right. But it's serviceable. Yeah, it's serviceable. All right, let's go over here, which I think is this. I think it's the Evan Williams. Honestly, it is better, but I'm not going to say, and I'm not going to say it just to, you say you got to say it because people are going to ridicule you. It's your channel. You got to protect your channel. Well, no, I don't really have to protect it because I got to go with what I'm tasting. I'm tasting it, and it's not really that much better. It's a little bit better, but to say it's significantly better, eh. I would buy. I would probably still buy it, but I wouldn't go out and pay a whole lot more for it. No, I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't do it. Gunther Higginbotham says, "Hi, Rick." Rick, well, I'm not Rick. You might be on the wrong channel, but a lot of people in the afternoon come home from work, do a little bit, maybe too much drinking, and things get a little out of hand. But thanks for watching. Wesley Estheimer says, I could go on. I could go with a Corona about now. Corona Extra or the Familiar? Right. Well, a lot of people need alcohol. No one needs alcohol, but they might want alcohol. Gunther. Okay, but getting back to planet Earth, I got it. I got it. I got it. But yeah, was it tough? It wasn't really too tough, but it was, you had to pay attention. You did have to pay attention. So are the flavors mostly similar? They are. Um, there are differences, but they're not profound. So yeah, it's kind of a balancing act. You might want to I think you might want to just buy whatever you prefer because this is not up to the level of the Evan Williams, but it's not way, way worse. I expected it was going to. Okay, so when I started doing typing all the information, getting it set up. I thought it was going to be a pretty bad difference. I thought, this thing's going to get just decimated, eradicated, consticated, castigated, uh, encephalated, but it didn't. So, all right, fair enough. Did better than I thought. It overperformed. I've only got a little bit left, so I can do one more taste challenge. Will it be any different? No, which kind of is an argument for the product because it never wins. I mean, it like never wins, but in competition, blind competition, it doesn't do that bad. It does not do that bad. Now, Heaven Hill, they can put out some really treacherous blended American whiskeys. Some of those, oh man, they will have flavors that are beyond the pale of any acceptable form of human decency. They are off the chain, not right. So you go get your Samuel, T.W. Samuels, get your Kentucky Gold, get your Kentucky Boat, and you asking for it. You're just asking for it. But this bourbon whiskey with natural flavors, it's a little bit better, and the price is the same. So the price does not matter. You can buy Heaven Hill cheapo bourbons for the same price as Heaven Hill cheapo blended whiskeys. It's your call, whatever you want to buy. Same with Sazerac. It doesn't matter. Sazerac, Heaven Hill, Diageo, their blended cheap whiskeys are the same as their blended bourbons or their super cheap bourbons. So it's all what you want to buy. And in my case, I buy them all because I want to try them all. So Evan Williams wins, but honestly, it does not really run away with the show, which is a little bit of a shock to me, but I'm not, worried about it. Yeah, I'll just bring it into competition against all the other bourbons I have, which is too many. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to do okay. I think it will win most of the time, but it may not win much more than like 51, 55% of the time. I think it's going to be tough. All right, here comes a train from Kansas City. Oh, no, it's a helicopter. All right. Train, helicopter, they sound a lot not alike. Okay, let's go with some comments. Oh, you drinking the extra, Corona Extra. I ought to review that one. I bet it's been a long time since I reviewed Corona because I'll say it's been a little while and then I'll check. It's been like 12 years, Liam says, Genesee Cream Ale, thoughts? I like Genesee Cream Ale, but I bought it in Louisiana in 2014 and it disappeared. They brought it back in 2020. It disappeared, and I've never seen it again. So I like Genesee Cream Ale, Liam, sorry. But no, we cannot get it here. So my thoughts are I'm very favorable towards it, but I cannot buy it. Now, if I go on a road trip to New York State, because you can't even get it in New York City, crazily, yeah, I'd buy it. I think it's sold in northern Mississippi, but I'm 4 hours from northern Mississippi, so yeah, not gonna do it. Not gonna die. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and yeah, in a few days, maybe 2 days from now, we'll bring in another bourbon whiskey to go up against the apparently very quickly becoming, I don't know how you say that. It's becoming popular very quickly. It was already popular, but now it's becoming like a legendary type of thing. You too. Y'all take care. Much love to you. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.